Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 here of our first best of 3 at the ESL NA Weekly 5. This is for the ESL Pro Tour, $100 on the line, some ESL Pro Tour points, and of course the guts, glory, and fame of being able to call yourself the weekly champion of NA. In the bottom right, I did not actually think with as many Marines as he had, he could do what he did, but the control, the micro, on the first dual prong attack was just way too strong, and that's why he's up 1-0 at the moment. He is Juggernaut Jason. And I didn't really hate Yaegz's build last game. I already said his name, damn it. I didn't really hate his build last game, but I just feel, yeah, maybe it was too conservative. I don't know. I guess I hope he kind of switches it up. Maybe tries to put a little bit of pressure back if he can hold that mine drop and maybe do some blink harass. Anyway, in the top left, I mean, I already said his name, but he is Yaegz. Yeah, really well played first TvP there out of Jason. We are onto a bigger map, Nightshade. You've got a very far away third base, which is going to make the types of plays that we may see from somebody like Jason even better, considering the amount of damage that he was able to do. And the natural and third aren't too much closer on Ephemeron, but you've got this big airspace, very similar to Ephemeron by the natural, and as well as this airspace on the behind side. And you still have a pretty big arc, right? I feel like that's been a common recurring theme amongst many of the maps this season. But Yaegz, he says, you know what? I'm going to dare to be different. I'm going to put my probe in the bottom left side of the map, and I'm going to drop a dirty pylon. And then I'll probably build a Twilight Council. It doesn't matter whether that's home or not, because what really matters is what I'm going to build here. And I'm going to guess right now it's probably a Stargate or a Dark Shrine. Of course, Dark Shrine takes a little bit more time to get to, but think about Jason's perspective, right? We've got the Reaper, you come in, all right. Now, this is important. He saw that there was a second pylon at the front of the natural expansion. So, for all intents and purposes, this actually looks very, very close to the exact same thing that he saw on the last game. The only thing that Jason would really be waiting for right now is to see that robo drop. And that's what makes this interesting, because after a certain amount of time, when Jason sends that Reaper back over here, when he sees there's no tech here, that's got to be a little bit concerning, because there's only two things that could possibly be happening since the Protoss has this gas. Now, either Yaegz forgot his tech, nice meme, LOL, or he proxied it. Good meme, LOL. Yeah, well, he is, by the way. There's the Twilight Council. So if Jason were to scan the main base now, he'd see a late robotics facility. And you have to ask yourself, why would my opponent have a late robotics facility? There really is only one answer. And it's not that Yaegz is bad. He is proxy Dark Shrining this game. And we did have a Hellion follow-up by Jason. So I think the goal of this is to just yeet it into the main base. And he's just going to go straight over. Yeah, so he sees that this robo is very late. He sees it's very late. Now, his setup is much more conservative this game because he didn't see that tech early on. And he should be feeling a little bit nervous. He's going to build a Viking. He cancels it. Is he going to get a Raven? I feel like a Raven is a good play here. Yeah, so there it is. I really just feel like the Raven gives you so much utility in terms of being able to shut down a Warp Prism, but also having the detection. Because if you think about it this way, the Raven is 200 gas. Yeah, he can't do a mine drop, but he already feels like something is off. And consider the following. Engineering Bay, 125 minerals and about 30 minerals of lost mining time. Missile turret, 100 minerals, about 20-30 minerals of lost mining time. So at the end of the day, instead of spending upwards of 500-600 minerals and also possibly not having scans available because you're not having mules because you're saving scans, he says, I'm just going to get a third command center, build a Raven. We're going to play this a little bit more on the turtle side of things. I'm going to be a little bit more defensive, and that should pay off in spades for him. Now, Blink is going to be researched by Yaegz. He's got the Warp Prism going across, so he's going to use that Proxy Twilight Council to shift into something that's still going to give him a little bit more mobility as far as defending against something like those drops from the last game when the two-prong attack came in. But there's one DT going towards the front. He's going to drop one in the back. Jason sees Prism coming in. He does not see the DT in the natural. Remember, he only has one Raven, so he can still do damage with this, even though detection is available. And 3 SCVs have already been picked off. We've got a Dark Templar over here with his big blade. It's like a staff with swords on both sides, and Darth Maul over here. He does manage to pick it off though. So we just have a prism with a Dark Templar in it. And this gets a little bit scary now, because when this type of attack doesn't do damage for Protoss, yeah, he's got the third base coming in, but he also saw how greedy Jason was being in this game. And get another SCV on that, by the way. This command center should have been finished a little while ago. He's still not finishing it. Jason! No! Oh, you actually feel really good if you're Yaegz. You come in and see this, you're like, oh, dude, he totally doesn't realize that his third command center isn't done. That's 15 supply. Jason doesn't have any depots in production, by the way. He's about to get supply blocked. I'd just like to point out that this type of stuff is really important. Look, he starts a depot. He might even supply drop. Oh, man. Well, this was just really good by Yaegz. Even though he didn't do a lot of damage, he's actually done pretty good indirect damage by delaying the third base, by distracting Jason. There we go. Finally he's going to go to work on that. There's that depot finishing soon. Supply drop. Called it. Called it. So he actually gets quite a bit of value, despite the fact that his DTs didn't really do a whole lot. However, there's still a lot to be afraid of. Jason's just going to fly that third straight out there. Stim is going to be done soon. Combat shield plus 1/1 is coming in. But since Yaegz was able to get into that situation that so many Protoss desire to be, which is charge, blink, double forge, third base fully saturated before the Terran even lands their third, this right here is where the opportunity lies for Yaegz. Unfortunately, Jason does still have a pretty good number of siege tanks. So without an observer, that I think he lost an observer already in this game because of the Raven. Yeah. No, actually, he did not. I'm a little bit blind. The observers are both back home. But yeah, he couldn't really try to go in the main or anything. And I guess what I'm really trying to say is Jason's probably going to move across the map and kill him here. And I don't think that the +1 armor charge zealots are going to be able to help a lot, because the Raven. There you go. There's your Dorito cannon. So now we've got zealots at -3 shield armor and -1 armor because of that anti-armor missile, which reduces all units shields and armor by 3 points. Yes, it can go into the negatives in StarCraft. We don't have imaginary numbers in this game. One Stalker tries to blink forward to bait some shots, but it's not going to be enough. Third base still mining completely, but are there enough warp gates? Only 7 gateways available. The Stalkers are trying to get a little bit of a flank going over here. The observers, both. The Raven. Yeah, I was going to say he's not going to be able to get the vision. I guess that observer will get away, but he finds the immortal, so it doesn't matter. Zealot's going to try to charge onto the siege tanks. Marines turning around to try and defend against this. Keep in mind, the third base, he hasn't really done probe damage. If Yaegz could find a way to hold on to this, anything is possible. But since the Raven is alive, still, I don't think he can do anything like warp in DTs to try and save. A lot of players would just try to get a few DTs, throw a Hail Mary, but that's kind of side effect of having that Raven alive. Surprised the Stalkers don't try to yeet onto it either. Jason is going to mop this series up 2-0. Very well played by the American Terran.